everyone. Welcome to another fantastic broadcast, or rather live stream, with the awesome FMTraining.tv team. We stream every day at 1 p.m. Pacific time on 3 different platforms. We stream here on Discord, we also stream on Twitch, and we also stream on YouTube. My name is Margaret Carlton. I will be your broadcast engineer for today. We will be talking about FileMaker add-ons with Calvin and Richard. Calvin, if you can, love to see your smiling face. There we go. Hey, Calvin, good to see you.
Good afternoon.
Always good to see you guys. We have a multitude of awesome educational topics over the next 6 days that I want to talk about really fast. So we're going to do that really quick here. Live training schedule. So today, obviously, we have the awesome add-ons. Tomorrow, we have FileMaker licensing with Ryan Correa. I highly recommend you drop in for that one. So that would be nice. We also have FileMaker and the Monkey Bread plugin with Christian Smith, who is always fantastic. We have developer tools and ear in FileMaker with Richard, sort of discussing developer tools and understanding encryption at rest, which is always a fun conversation. And that'll lead into Friday, which is neatly called the FileMaker Emergency Star Trek Transporter, Scotty Beam Me Up, or rather, how to use XML export files when everything else has gone wrong. So, and then on Monday, Calvin is back. Calvin and Richard are both back to discuss the many Git functions that FileMaker has. If you have something, if you have a more specific topic in mind, or don't like what we're talking about, or have very specific questions, we do have 90 hours of amazing video content. Very animated, very involved. Cover a wide variety of topics on pretty much all of the FileMaker platform. So Pro, Go, WebDirect, Server, Cloud, you name it, we discuss it. All very animated, short, little condensed 15-minute chunks, so you're not with us on our sort of meandering live stream. But please feel free to buy that. It supports us. It helps us do these live streams. We really would appreciate it. All right. With that being said, I would like to turn it over now to our 2 presenters, or rather 1 presenter and Richard Carlton assisting. So let me bring up Slack.
Yeah, I can be the assistant, right?
Yes.
So Calvin, are you there? Do you hear me? Are we clear? So Margaret's running the broadcast studio. I'm in Santa Clara. She's actually in Fairfield. So she's like literally running through the house with the sharp scissors. So whenever your little girl does that, you always cringe because you hope she doesn't stick it through her head. That would be unfortunate. So today is an exciting day. We are going to be talking about add-ons. So just to structure the conversation up front, this is day 3 of a set of 3. We've been doing 1 day each week of add-ons over the last 3 weeks. Today's add-ons are going to culminate theoretically into the new version of the Wolfpack. And so I'm not sure if Christian is actually in the broadcast, right? Yeah, he doesn't seem to be there right now. But he is supposed to be rolling all this together, and he said it would be ready by this evening. He's going on vacation to Hawaii, so if he doesn't get it done, we're all screwed. So, yeah, so the Wolfpack is free. It's all the previous add-ons we've done, updates, bug fixes, things like that. The Wolfpack's pretty slick. So, so today is a conversation about add-ons. You know, what do you have for us?
So today I have 2 more add-ons, and they're actually, I think these are my 2 favorite add-ons. One is a left card navigation. So if you wanted your main navigation to be along the left in a card, so it takes up doesn't take up space on your screen all the time, we can bring it up and you can navigate to different layouts from there. And then the other one is a back and forward navigation buttons, similar to what you might experience in a web browser, but this one is in FileMaker controlling the layout navigation. And so those are my last 2 add-ons that I had for these, and I'm excited to show them to you.
All right, show us your screen and show them.
All right.
And by the way, when you show them on starting point, you do confuse people, right? We had that problem last time, right? Because as people are overwhelmed with what starting point is and then add-on. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you start doing this. So
got it. So in that case, let's go ahead and I'll minimize starting point for now. But especially the navigation is going to make a little more sense with starting point specifically. So let's start with that. And so let me go ahead and open this. And so here we have, this is just the demo file. And if I open up the demo, we'll see it says, please select a layout for each navigation record. So I've got this card that it allows us to set up these navigation records without having to go into layout mode. And this is what it would look like normally once it's already set up. And we've got a manage button down here. We've got accounts, contacts, and I had this mirror starting point so that it'd be an easy thing to add into there.
Well, you could demo it in starting point. That's fine. I just keep in mind that people are frequently overwhelmed with when you show them that. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. So let's go ahead and add this to starting point. I'll go over here. And
so this is a pop-out slide vertical navigation control. Is what this basically is.
Actually, this is a card window. So it opens up a new.
Okay.
Yeah, it opens up a new window, and what's really cool about that is that you can reference it anywhere. If you have a slide on your layout, then you have to have a relationship to show those records.
Yep.
Yeah,
I showed the same thing last week. I did on the right side with, but it wasn't an add-on. It was built into our aviation, one of our aviation databases. Yeah, so that's pretty slick. Yeah.
Let's. So let me go ahead over here, and we'll select our add-ons, and it's already installed. So let me go ahead and drag this on.
Okay, is it going? Might be.
Yeah,
going.
I might have messed something up because I just reinstalled it on my machine. So I'll uninstall it. Okay. Add-ons are still coming along.
Well, yeah, this is not. So once again, as a reminder, everyone. This is the add-ons are still what we would call preview software or beta software. They're not final. And because there is no documentation on them, right? Every time Claris says, hey, we want documentation on this, Claris goes, oh yeah, just go see Todd Geist's video on how to do it, right? So whenever Claris defers the documentation to a third-party company, then pretty much you know that it's not a final product. So you just dropped it in there? Is that what we did?
I just dropped it in. So,
okay.
And this is one of my favorites just because the only work you have to do in layout mode is that drag and drop onto the layout. And so now it's there. And of course, we've just added it. These records are in here, but it doesn't know what layout we should point these to. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll through here and have this pointed to accounts. And then scroll through and find contacts. There's contacts. We'll do contacts data entry. Let's do estimates. There's estimates data entry. And we have a sort order here, so you could change the order. And now I just noticed we don't have a home record. So I'm going to say add new record. We'll call this one home. We'll give this one the order of 0, so it goes to the top. And point this one to, I think home is L2. So scroll through here. There's home.
Oh, it's sorted. Oh, I see. It's sorted alphabet. Okay, I see what it's doing.
Yeah, so this is a value list that's generated when you open up the card window to edit. And the value list is based on all of the layouts in the app.
Yeah,
so now
it's not numerical analysis on those numbers. It's a text sort, not a number sort.
Right, yeah. Right. So I'll go ahead and select accounts. And it navigated us right over there. So here we go. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, but the button's not there. We need the button there too, right? So
right. So we do have to add the button to each layout. Let me go ahead and add this.
Oh, here. So you got rid of our. Yeah, so you get rid of the home button. You put that there instead.
Right. So it's when I first built this when I had a client that wanted to. They didn't want to go to the effort of having a portal in every window, but they needed to control which modules one of their employees could see. So we wanted to be able to limit it. And so we opened up the card window. We do a find to show only the ones that that person's allowed to see, and then they can access those. So we're already in accounts, so I can select contacts. I think we set that one up, and
that's pretty awesome. That is
but
pretty.
But what's
awesome.
really one of my favorite things about it is just how fast it is to set up, and easy it is to make those connections.
So you're telling it to hide or get rid of the home button there. You put that new one in there, and then you're set. You're done. Wow.
Right. I like the only reason I was leaving the home button is because it's better to it's easier to position it in the right spot. Just so because the home button's already in a good location, so I just center it over the home button, and then obviously we still have home, so we can navigate back there. And so that's you can always go back here and say one thing some of my clients like is they don't like going directly to the data entry layouts. They want to go to list views. So this would be an easy way to update this. So you can say, okay, everyone's going to the list view now. Now when we navigate, I'll say done. So it looks like I grabbed the wrong layout in this case. We want the list, or the what are they? The desktop layouts, not the touch layouts. I'm not sure what number that is though. Let's just scroll through. Probably these 300s. So now it's you can add your own buttons in there and for navigating other places, and it's really slick way to move around. You can change the icons. All these icons are actually in container fields. So we don't have the icons exactly matching the SVGs that are baked into FileMaker, those default icons, but
sure,
you can put any picture in there and get that to work.
Agent Chevy has a question. How does this? Yeah. How does it meet the situation where you have different layouts for different privilege sets? So
yes, so this add-on doesn't do that, but what we were doing in that case is, let me go ahead and show the script. When we open this, actually, let me just open it in so we can go into layout mode. And we'll look at our demo file that you'll get. So when we go into layout mode here and check out this, we're just looking at, this is actually a master detail portal. So you could either perform a find, or you could put a filter on the, I guess you can't put a filter on a master detail, but you could perform a find or use a go to related record to filter the list by the IDs that somebody's allowed to see. So in the case of the instance where we were limiting the found set for certain people, we were giving them a list of, we had a privileges table that had the navigation IDs in it. And this was set up identical to the way Launchpad is set up, where there's a navigation table and a privileges table. And so you could check off which navigation options that you wanted them to see, and then say you didn't want them to see maybe accounts. So that would be gone. And then maybe estimates and invoices. Maybe you didn't want them to see expenses. So then it would establish the found set to only show them what you wanted them to see.
Yeah. So I think fundamentally what a bunch of you need to ask this is a thing that's going to help you save time. However, a lot of you already want to customize this for your own particular uses. So you're going to use this as a starting point to customize, right? It's not, I think we didn't title this completed easy add-on navigation that solves all problems for everyone in the world, period, right? That's not the title of the product, right? So Stu asked the question. Stu was asking multiple questions here. I like the ability to manage access module navigation in one spot at a time, not on every layout. This is a solution for my desire to be reusable navigation. He says, does this allow for multi-level navigation or just one level?
Yeah, good question. So this is actually only has one level, but well, I assume when we say more than one level, we're talking about an accordion or something like that. And I have built it to set it up so that it could work as an accordion. This demo does not do that though. So in this case, I wanted something that would be really straightforward and easy to understand and solve the navigation problem.
Well, it's like
a lot of expansions.
Like a virtual menu, right? Where you click on that,
exactly.
Then it goes to the right and shows you like the 12 account options that you have and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you're going to end up combining a technique like this and maybe the one that Christian had with virtual menus that he demoed 3 or 4 or 5 months ago, whenever that was, right? So it gets progressively more complicated. Once again, the starting point, at least in most of our solutions, we like to keep this part of it simple. Ruben says this is pretty. Now remember, whenever I see Ruben now, I have to say this is from an Oracle guy, right? Who considers SQL statements to be low code. So we have to put that criteria at times every time Ruben says anything. This is pretty awesome. I built something similar, but as a button bar, so it's not as slick as yours. I don't know if I can show my screen. My screen is really big. Stand by 1 second. So let me see. Chronos 2. Let me bring this up. I'm going to log on to it. Get into it real quick. Yeah, a minute. All right. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Share screen. Okay. Mark, are you there?
Yep. Let me swap over to your screen. There we go.
All right. So this is my FileMaker file here. And so I did the exact similar thing. I realized the value of having a single navigational point. And so I click here. So it's a same kind. His is stylish. It's more beautiful. But this is a card that hangs out here. It has, and of course I have an edit right here. So this is designed internally for me, but allows me to click on items and it allows me to control and manipulate the file set. So the card actually could be put in different places.
So this is just performing fines on your layout? Is that right?
That's all it does, because what I do
is really cool.
Well, because here's the problem that we have, right? With a lot of solutions. You have all these categories and all these tables. Like I have maybe I want to talk about FAA paperwork related to an aircraft, for example. Okay. And so, but if you want to do a search, you don't know necessarily where the document has been saved at. So if I have one table, then when you do a search, it's searching all the tables in parallel. It's a very simple way to fix kind of a stupid process where people try to over classify everything, but then you can't really get to what you need. And so all this does is it runs a script and it does a search on that item, right? There's a little bit of intelligence in here, but the idea is that the other day we were going through a 50-hour inspection and we found out that there was some like oil sump screen, whatever gee whiz widget over here. And so I had to order some of these things up. And then they came in, this is like a little crush ring that goes in here and whatever. So yeah, so the point is that it's the same kind of card. So if I go to a layout over here, so could you wire this to the right side of the screen, or would it always be on the, because if I go to layout mode, I can pop this over here.
Yeah, so you could put it on the right side of the screen if you wanted to. Generally, the navigation is left to right. And so because we're in that navigation, having that navigation idea, it made a little more sense to put it there. But you could position it. You could position it in the middle, on the right, on the left, wherever you wanted it.
Sure.
And depending on what your need is, because if you're doing something where, or in that app, it's doing a find, which might be a little confusing in a place where you would expect navigation. But
right.
But yeah,
okay. Okay. So I'm doing finds totally invisibly. It acts like it's navigation. It's designed to pretend it's navigation, but it's not. It's all fake. It did that on purpose, right? Once again, because if you do a search, you want to be able to search across all the tables, and the tables and the categories that are coming up are dynamically changing. Right. For example, so as you as you start to learn about a specific topic, it doesn't matter. Underwater basket weaving. You're going to underwater welding. I want to do underwater demolitions and welding, right? Very high risk job. All the little things that go into that, having your gear and training and certifications and currency and all this sort of stuff that goes into it. I don't know anything about it. So you'd start building and collecting information, but you wouldn't know all the categories up front until you got into it. And you're like, oh, right. So, if you quit learning, you're dead, right? So you're always learning new things. And so for me, I wanted a flexible design. So anyway, can you go back to your screen? I just was like, wow. So what are we doing now? So is that this add-on? Are we done here with this one?
Yeah. Do we have any? Yeah, that's all that I have to show for the that main navigation. And I really like the idea though that you could use a card in a similar style to do a lot of different things. Right now, this is just doing navigation. But do we have any questions about that before we move on to the next add-on?
No one's squealing. Christian's about to say something deep and profound, I'm sure. So, of course, we have to wait for him to type. So, yeah, if you want to go ahead and stage your next demo. Okay.
One last thing to show. This is just a simple setup. So it's based on the name. So if we change a name of our layout, it will break this. But I do have this conditional formatting, so if the name changes, it turns red. So let's go ahead.
Well, you're saying if it can't find a match is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
So let's go ahead. If we go to the home and go to layout mode, and I'd like this home to show up at the top. So I'm going to put a bunch of zeros in there. And let's go to accounts. And now when I go home, it's not going to work. If I go over here, we'll see, now home is highlighted red. So I know there's a problem.
I'm impressed. That's very clever.
And I can update it right there.
Extra cleverness. Okay, well, Christian was about to say something, and then he didn't say. A lot of people are typing, and then nothing happened. So... yeah, Peter Geens. I agree, Peter. That's great. That's exactly what it is. Peter says it's great user experience or developer experience. But yes, right? DX developer experience, right? So very nice. I like it.
All right. Well, let's go to the next one, which is also keeping with the theme of navigation. This is the back and forward buttons. So I've built different back.
Not to cut you off, Calvin. Someone has Stu has a question. Can you link to layout ID and not the name?
Yes, you could. And the only reason I'm not was to keep it simple. So, but yeah, that is another method that I use.
Okay, cool.
And and to do that, I would use an auto enter. I'd still have it probably work this way and have you select the name. But then in the background, I would have an auto enter calc field that would determine what the layout number was based on your selection. And then navigate based on that ID instead of the name. But we would still select it the same way. And that way, we're not trying to track names or numbers.
Yeah, it's an extra way, a little more complicated mechanism for that. So
it is a little more complicated, but it's a little less fragile.
Yeah.
Which so there's always pros and cons. But yeah, using the ID is definitely a way to do that. So my next navigation, so just to kind of give a little story about this is I built this navigation buttons, back and forward buttons some time ago, and I never liked it. Every time somebody asked for it, I said it won't work the way you want it to, and I don't like how it is. And so recently I was working on a project with Nick Hunter, and the client insisted on having back and forward buttons. And Nick told me I couldn't have them. They weren't, I said, no, the client, it's not negotiable. The client has to have it. He said, well, you're only allowed to have it on there if you get a tooltip that will tell you where the back and forward buttons go. So I've got this little demo. You can see as I navigate, all these layouts look identical, but except which button's highlighted. between layout 1, 2, and 3. And you'll notice that as I navigated, our back button became active, and if I hover over it, it says back to third layout. You'll see we're on layout 2. I'll select back.
Hey, is it restoring the found set in sort order, or what's it doing?
It's only layout navigation. Okay. So we'll see here, I have what I'm doing is tracking the what's going on in this block of JSON. We have a stack of our layouts, and then one is the layout, and then we have the name. So the name is for the back and forward button, which we set in a script parameter. And when we go back and forward, you'll notice the level is going, now we're on level 7, which would be the end of the list. And level 0 is your first layout.
It's all true.
No
we have a really fast question, though, so I'm just going to interrupt.
The answer is 42.
Sometimes, only if it's a life problem. Could you extend it with the record you were on that layout?
Extend it? What do you mean extend it?
Well, have the, as additionally say the layout name and the current record, or the current found set?
He said yes.
So the current, if we're on a detailed layout,
is this like a British? He says both. He says both.
Both. Okay. Well, you could do both, and you could put the IDs. You could put name, layout name, and ID. But then right now it's working on an on layout enter trigger, and if you changed it to the found set as well on a detail layout, that'd be an on record load trigger. And so you got to keep in mind the overhead of having to track that. And then if you're doing a found set, you're going to have to this list of JSON could get pretty big if you're browsing a huge found set, and if you're looking at 100 records, and then every time you change a different find, it's saving a list of 100 IDs. Then it might become a little heavy.
Okay.
But it's definitely something that could be tried. So, but one thing to show here that didn't work in my previously, I was just using a list, not a JSON array. If I create a new window, then you'll notice that we've got 2 objects here, one for each window. So these layouts, each of these buttons work independently in each window. So here I don't have anywhere to go back and forward to, and here I do because I'm in it's tracked separately in separate blocks based on the name. So that's that's what's working. And let's go ahead and walk through.
Okay.
If we don't have any questions,
yes, we got one more.
We'll
I'm sorry.
Start implementing it. What's the question?
From MailSoft on Twitch, how far can you go back?
So right now, this is saving. This is saving the back and forward in a global variable, and so there's not really a limit to how far you can go back and forward. But when you close the app, that global variable disappears. So it's not saving that navigation as far as like an audit log. You could have it saved in an audit log. When somebody logs out, it takes that navigation and saves it as in the details of what they did during their session or something like that. But it would be the limit of the size of a JSON object in a global variable, which I don't know. That would be a lot, more than necessary. So this one takes a little more prep than the left navigation. We have to put a on layout enter trigger on each of the layouts where we want to track the navigation. And that brings up a point. Sometimes you don't want to put this trigger on every layout because some layouts you don't want to include in the navigation. Usually, like a print layout, you wouldn't want it. But let's go ahead and open up script triggers for home. We've got this on layout enter. Let's see, I was testing this. On layout enter. And so we have the back and forward on layout enter trigger. And the parameter is just the name that you want to see, the friendly name, you might say, that people recognize when they hover over it. So we got our back and forward here.
Oh, wait, real quick, Calvin. There is a question from Stu. What's the behavior when you go back, then manually navigate somewhere else? Example, 1 to 2 to 1 to 3. Does 2 get deleted from the JSON like a normal browser behavior?
Right. So I believe what happens, and let's just find out real quick. So I'm going to close this so we're starting fresh. I believe what happens is that we start. So if you go back and then navigate somewhere else, then it will clear the forward navigation record. So here I went to 2, and now I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to select, and we can see what's going on here. So we're on level 0, which means we're on the layout 1. If we go forward, we're going to go to 2, and we'll select 3 and see what happens. And it adds 3 at the end. But it says we're on level 2. So if I go back, okay. So we went back to the beginning. We're on level 0. Now we're on level 3. So what it does is it puts us to the end of the stack, and then puts us on that level, but saves everything. Nothing's cleared from the history. So if we go back, we're going to end up going to 3, and 3, 2, 1. Does that make sense? Let's continue putting it in accounts. So I believe we added the buttons, but we didn't add the triggers. So on layout enter trigger, and this already has a trigger, so we'll add it. And we did do this one. Let's go ahead and do the account list layout. Same thing there. We'll add these, and we didn't put our left navigation on here. Let's go ahead and do that. Scoot this over a little bit. Okay, let's go to browse mode, and we'll. So usually when I test these out, I like just starting from the beginning, and you can go into the data viewer, and this is something helpful to know about the data viewer. You can actually change these values in here. So currently we're on level 0. And here's the stack. We're on home, and the name is home, so there's nothing to clear out. Okay, we will select accounts, and we see our back button is highlighted, so we can go back. We can go forward. Let's go to list, and it looks like that we didn't put the trigger on list. It doesn't look like we put anything on list. Let's go put the back and forward button here. So this one takes a little bit more setup than the list navigation, the left navigation, but it's really handy when you want that back and forward navigation. Okay, so let's go ahead and start from home again. And this time we'll have something clear out of here. So I want to start from as if we're starting from the top. So I'm going to clear everything out except home. And one helpful thing to know is that you can change any of your variables while you're in an active database. They're not static. You don't have to use a set field command. Okay, so you'll notice neither of our, or set variable command. Neither of our buttons are active. Let's use our navigation to go to accounts. Went to list view, we'll go to detail, and let's go back. Let's hover over this to see what it says. So back to home, or we can go forward to account detail. Forward to account detail, back to the list, back to home. And so the real slick back and forward buttons that are real convenient for layout navigation, specifically layout navigation, not record navigation. But you could update it and modify it to update those the JSON and navigation to include a record selection option in there. So, any other questions about the forward and back navigations?
Questions, everyone. We do have a question about the sample file being available, but that's a kind of a whole thing. So we will get that available to you.
Yeah, the other ones we gave out individually. These two are going to be just part of the Wolfpack update when that is shipped out, which should be sometime today. What info are you pulling from the tooltip? So the tooltip, if we want to look at this, is looking at where we are in the stack and what is either before or behind. So it's getting the window name to know which JSON object we're looking for. And then it is pointing to that global variable that holds the JSON. And then we want what the position is. So that's taking the current level and then adding one. And then we are grabbing that name from the JSON. And then just, if it's empty, there's nothing to show. If there is something to show, then we say forward to the forward title. Any questions about that calculation? And the other one is just actually simply -1. And instead of calling it forward to, we say back to.
I don't see anything at the moment. Let me see. Do we have more questions here, Margaret? Did we answer the one from Stu? Very cool about the info you're pulling for the tooltip.
Yep.
Oh, we answered that.
Just took care of that one. I'm looking at everything else. We've got a lot of questions about bundles, but not so much about the app. Though everyone on the other platforms says this is really cool, which it is. So
it's pretty neat stuff. Yeah. No, Calvin does a great job. I know we're being distracting with Kyle because he likes JSON, but it's we're having a lot of fun, and then and there's a lot going on this week. So it's today's already been kind of crazy. I watched I guess the last 2/3 of the Apple developer WWDC, and they have an overwhelming amount of they're putting in. It's a big company, and they're got a lot of widgets in there. I'm like, wow, right? So you have to watch the keynote or the WWDC and figure out what pieces that you want to play in, right? Because there's a lot of amazing stuff. So we're going to get this in a Wolfpack, but that requires Christian to actually ship the Wolfpack out the door or something, right? So
it is. Christian's currently not in here at the moment. I think he ducked out for stream. Not for a stream. Ducked out of the stream to work on something. So.
Yeah, well, he does have a daytime paid job, right? So,
yes. So is there not a place to download Wolfpack currently?
Well, they're going to be looking for these add-ons. Yeah, you go to. I don't know. Is it RCC Wolfpack or FM Wolfpack or Wolfpack?
Let me hunt down that link.
Wolfpack of the packs, right? If you go to FM, if you go to FM Starting Point, hit Marketplace, it'll be at the top. Margaret.
Doing good. So we covered everything there. Do we have any other questions about these add-ons? If you've checked out any of the other add-ons we've looked at, we could answer any questions that might have come up. We've also looked at the image crop tool, the progress bar, what else did we have there? The slide tabs within new morphism, look, popover menu. I think that's everything.
Now, Calvin's done a very good job with getting these add-ons loaded into Wolfpack. Can you bring up the current Wolfpack? Do you have Wolfpack 4, whatever version, Calvin, do you have there?
I have the one that I've been working on.
So would you walk people through the Wolfpack briefly here if you want to zoom in a little bit or whatever you want to do so they can see that?
Yeah, so you can go through the Wolfpack, And currently it doesn't have these new ones, but they will be there when you get there. You'll select which ones you want to install, and then you'll select install selected add-ons. So let's do one that I don't have installed. Who do we have? So a developer to-do list. I don't know. I haven't seen this one. So I'm going to select the developer to-do list.
Oh, that's like a big solution there. Yeah, it's a pretty.
Oh, it is?
It's got no. It's fine. It's fine. Go and do it. But it's got neomorphism and stuff in it. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
Jake kicked ass on that thing. It's a pretty good one. It's pretty. It's not like a little kind of. It's more of a full loaded kind of thing.
Yeah, let's do. So now that I installed it, it will be an option in FileMaker Pro. So let's go back to FileMaker Pro. And
yeah, Scott Kane, that's a good point.
And after you install, it's going to quit FileMaker. And the reason that it needs to quit FileMaker is so that the new add-on displays correctly. And that's one of those things that we probably will be improved over time. I'm hoping, because it kind of annoys me when I have to quit every time. We'll say create new, just so we can start from something fresh. And I'm not sure what the to-do list does. We'll say desktop. And OK. Let's go to edit layout. And we'll select an add-on. We've selected add-ons on the left and then the plus button. And here's our new, here it is right here, developer to-do list add-on. Choose. And it added pretty fast. Okay, so it's
oh, I see. So it's a button that like takes you there. Got it. Okay. So
yeah.
So press the button. What happens?
Okay.
So yeah, new item. Add a new item.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so
yeah.
So
add another record. You start seeing that master detail with the really cool stuff in there, right? So yeah. How do you? I guess add at the top. I guess do it that way, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, sexy.
Okay, we got the different colors.
Yeah, this is pretty sexy.
Yeah, this is really cool. So I can see putting this in your app if you want to put together a bug list or something.
Yeah.
Where people can submit bugs, and it just puts everything right there, and you can perform searches on it and get it right away.
Yeah.
See what's going on.
That's pretty
really cool.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? So the Wolfpack right now, everyone, is version 4, which doesn't have the amazing stuff in it. You need version 5. If you want to wait till just tomorrow on this, or you could try later on today to see what happens, but we will at some point get it swapped out. But Christian, it says 2 o'clock now, so Christian, I guess, will be thinking by 5 or 6 o'clock he'll give us the final file. Well, I don't have anything else at the moment. Anyone else have anything? So don't forget the upcoming schedule. Mark, can you pop up the upcoming schedule? Yeah. Don't forget, it all culminates with some illegal stuff on Friday. You're going to actually have to literally hack your copy of FileMaker. I'm probably going to get a call from Claire saying, Richard, you can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's an emergency. If you don't do it, we die, right? So I think one of those kind of things, right? Like how far will you go to save your FileMaker file from death and destruction? Never to be seen from again. Yeah. All right, folks. So that's it, Margaret. Appreciate it. See everyone tomorrow. See you.
Thank you. Bye.
Love. guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected, the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Trying to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap. Stands in, throws it left for Amendola. Reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10. Rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.